Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I am going to answer software testing interview question 154. That is, what is database testing? Let me answer. Database testing is a testing that is performed by checking the data that is entered into the application using graphical user interface is matching with the data that is actually stored in the database. So let me explain this statement with an example so that it will be more clear for you. So let's say this is your laptop. Okay, let's say this is your laptop machine. In this laptop, you opened one browser. Okay, in the browser, you have browsed a URL. In the browser, you have browsed a URL, say tutorials ninja.com/demo application. Some application you opened. Okay, let me show you visually. Like this, you opened the application. You went to one of the page that is a register page. Okay, in the register account page, you gave all the details like Arun Motori. Then email. Okay, you gave some email. Then some telephone number, all the data you are giving. So how you are entering the data into this data into this application here? How you are entering the data into this application? You see the statement says checking the data that is entered into the application using via what? Via graphical user interface. Via the graphical GUI, that is user interface of this application, you are entering the data. This password, this password confirm, everything is a data that you are entering into the application via the user interface or graphical user interface of the application. And the moment you click on the continue button, what will happen? The moment you put uh, the moment you click on the continue button here, what will happen? A request will be sent to the server. A request will be sent to the, let's assume that this is a server somewhere remotely, server machine is there. So here with all the data that you have entered from the user interface or graphical user interface of this application, whatever the data you have entered into the application, so when you click on that continue button, a request has been sent to the server with all the given data which has been entered via the graphical user interface to the server. Server will process this request, server will process the request and will store this particular data, okay, as it is into a database. Okay, server will store this particular data into the database. Like this, there will be a database here, and into this database, whatever the data the users have entered into the application via the graphical user interface of the application like this, okay, that data will be passed to the database by the server. After processing, as part of processing, the server will store the data into the, this particular data will be stored in the database. Great. Okay, so now what is database testing? Here what we have to do is, you know what is the data the user has entered into the application via the GUI, right? So this data you already know, whatever the data that has been entered, that is Arun Motori and all this data, whatever the user has entered into the application via the graphical user interface, we know. This particular data, is it matching with the data that is actually stored in the database? Is this data matching? Whatever the data that is entered into the application is exactly same as the data that is actually stored in the database? This kind of testing is called as database testing, guys. But how to find out what is the data, what is the actual data that is stored in the database? Yeah, this is the data that has been entered into the application via the graphical user interface of the application, but we know this one. Okay, but what is the exact data or actual data that is actually stored in the database? To know that, we have to run some SQL queries on this database. Okay, we have to run some SQL queries on the database. Select star from, okay, so and so, where username is equal to so and so, like that. If you give a query, you will get this data, and that data that is, which is a result of this SQL query, will be matched with this, will be compared with this data that is entered into the application via the graphical user interface. If both are matching, then database testing is passed for this particular scenario. If the data that is stored in the database is different from the data that is entered into the application via the graphical user interface, if they are different, there is a defect in the software. Okay, we have to report a defect as part of the database testing. So hope guys you got an idea what exactly is database testing. Just to conclude, checking the data that is entered into the application using graphical user interface is matching with the data that is actually stored in the database of the application is called as database testing. So hope guys you got the answer for this question. So that's all for this session. In the next session, I'm going to answer another software testing interview question for you. Till then, see you. Bye bye.